Welcome to another episode of It Ain't Giving, featuring your hosts, Noella Fierce, me, and my co-host.
So, Moniela.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Miss Show, what's not giving for you, Diva?
What's not giving is honestly, I don't really know.
We had a good week. We had a real good week. We'll get into it in a little bit. But let me pivot over to me. What's not giving for me? What's not giving for me? This week kind of ate. Like
And for real, and it flew by.
this week. Yeah, this was a good week. It was a real good week. But you know what? What ain't given is capitalism. Period. Because capitalism ain't never given.
That's valid. I
Exactly.
feel like that's always
Exactly.
valid.
Hmm.
So I just wanna basically talk about the last episode, and I'm just skinning and grinning over here. Uh, I am so surprised at how well it did and how many views it got. And I just want to say hello to all of you new people, to to almost 100 subscribers. Hello. Um, very strange to say. Uh,
Right.
and like I came into that episode kind of manifesting that people already knew who we were because like it was the same 24, 23 people watching. And like we just got used to seeing those same like one or two people commenting, and I was like, y'all already know who we are. We've done this for 18 episodes. No introduction needed. And then a bunch
The
of like a
episode
thousand
blows
new
the hell
eyeballs
up.
are upon us, and I'm just like, oh, they kind of need to know who we are. So I don't feel like I shot myself in the foot. I definitely feel like I manifested something. But Uh, I'm just happy to see, it going to other queer people and stuff like that. But let me explain our format. Basically, podcast name is It Ain't Giving. Um, and at the beginning of the origins of the story of the whole podcast, which Noella will get into not too long from now, uh, the format of it and giving, I kind of was like, I feel like the name is like could be interpreted as just like inherently negative. So I was like, we would say what wasn't giving, but then I was like, at the end of each episode, we should say what is giving and be like, what's giving? So like, we kind of at the beginning of the episode say what ain't giving, and then at the end of the episode say what is giving, basically, and it's just like a little tidbit. Two
Ties it all
trans,
together
right?
neatly.
We're both trans
Right.
women, both black. What else about us? Do we want to talk about our children off the bat, or do we want to leave that for the end?
We gonna leave that for the end.
Okay. Um,
So since there's a lot of new eyeballs on this podcast, let me
yes.
just reintroduce myself. I am Noella Fierce. I am the creator of this podcast. Um, and obviously Show is my co-creator. But the name, making like deciding to do a podcast came from me. And it was first inceptualized, I don't even know if that's a word, back in 2022. And
Came to fruition.
those who have already, been with us, they know this story because they've listened to previous episodes. But to all our new folks, basically, I started this podcast with another dear friend of mine named Nate. But due to scheduling conflicts and,
Yeah,
just time not being on our side,
literally.
that that version of the podcast only went on for 2 episodes, I believe. The first
Yeah.
episode, Nate was there, and then the second episode, it was just me. And that inconsistency right off the bat just like made me not want to do it for like 2 years until I started becoming like great Judy's with my sister here, and just like randomly sparked the spur of the moment because I always wanted to keep doing the podcast, but I can't do this shit alone.
Yeah.
I just simply cannot do all of this by myself. And I saw qualities in show that made me want to ask her, do you want to do this podcast with me?
Period.
And she was like,
Period.
well, yes. So talk about your side.
Um, I've always wanted to like basically be on a podcast and like do that for a very long time. So like just the fact that you had already had one and then like stopped doing it, I was like I was like, period. Like you ate, of course I would want to do it with you. Like it's not even a question. Like, yes, I will. Um, but yeah, no, like we're still in contact with the person that you used to do it with, Nate. I love him so much. Be playing
Hmm.
Overwatch with him. He is the way I met Noella was through Nate because Nate found me on TikTok because I used to go viral making Dead by Daylight content and make little meme edits of Claudette and
Hmm.
like to Nicki Minaj music, and people fucking fell out and loved it. And I ended up nicknaming Claudette Harriet Tubman because the outfit I had, and it was like a whole thing. And Nate ended up finding me, and then I met Noella, and then like the whole podcast wouldn't even like be at this stage. And if it was, you'd be doing it with somebody else.
Right. The
Like,
podcast does not exist without meeting Nate and becoming best
yes,
friends with him.
yes,
Um, so forever indebted to him for leading me to my sister here.
yes.
Very, very happy about that. And yeah, so
Yes.
we started this podcast back in June or July of this year,
It was
2024.
July 1st, I
July,
believe. I have
July
it
1st.
marked on my
Okay,
calendar. It was the first of the month. Yes.
period. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, we've been going for some months now.
4 months. We only took
Hmm.
one break.
We've taken one break where
We're
we
very
needed the week
consistent.
off.
So we release podcast episodes every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What is going on?
Hmm.
Um, And then we also do gaming content. Whenever we have a strong story-based game that like is gonna take multiple hours to complete, there will be 2 episode uploads on Thursday and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have more about it in like the community tab. If you go to the community tab, you can like scroll and see it and see all the times that it's posted at if you don't know what the translation for that is for you, but we're very consistent on at least uploading it on that day. And we're gonna get better about the time for the podcast now that we have more people watching. Gag.
Yeah, we got a little lackadaisical with, but it always came out on Monday.
It
Y'all
always
just
came
didn't
out
know
on
when.
Monday. It still was gonna come
You just
out.
never knew when,
It might
which
have
was the
came
funny
out 30
part.
minutes to an hour late, but it still came out.
Yup, sure
But
did.
we're leading off on a good foot after we saw the growth and how many people were excited to see us, and I was excited to see them too, and so was Noella.
We were
So
both responding in them comments
yeah,
all day.
it was just like wild because
Us.
like here we are at work, just like doing a normal thing. It's just like oh my gosh, we're seeing like stuff is happening, like oh,
Hmm.
and then it just like oh when it was growing fast. I don't know, it was. And it wasn't even
It
that
was just
much. Like it could be so much more than what it was, but to that for
to
us,
us,
it's
it's
so like
massive.
organic and like
Hmm.
fast how it happened. I was like, ooh, child, because I felt this before, but doing it with you, I was just like, ooh, girl, it's a roller coaster sometimes. Seeing the engagement just shoot up. I'm like, oh, there's people watching now, but let's move into our I guess more serious topics. I kind of wanted to get a little political again. I guess we're gonna become a political podcast, a left-winged political podcast. I wanted to talk about how basically straight men are being radicalized by right-wing social media, and I would use like an example like Andrew Tate or like the Fresh and Fit podcast, where the men are very, very misogynistic, women hating, kind of just like blaming women for their hardships, and ended up getting a lot of those votes for Donald Trump in this election. And like, I don't know. Do you have anything you wanna harp on these straight men, Noella?
Definitely, I do feel the Manosphere played a decent part into why so many men gravitated towards Trump rather than the Democratic side,
Right,
just because they felt seen, they felt heard
right.
by fellow men. And it's unfortunate that, you know, this horrible rhetoric is being taught to them. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's what they're gravitating towards, and it's very unfortunate.
Right.
A lot of unlearning needs to be done. A lot of teaching needs to be done, and I personally don't have the patience to teach no man, but maybe
Girl.
through this podcast we can reach some straight men that will see the light.
Right.
Perhaps, perhaps,
It's just like
yeah,
I feel like a lot more people need to like talk to their kids and
and
like
monitor what they're watching.
yeah, because a lot of the things that they say are just like really, really horrible, honestly. Especially Andrew Tate. It's not even up for
He's
debate.
the worst
He's
of them
he's
all.
he's running away from the American government because he's involved in sex trafficking. So there's it's not even up for debate. It's not like baby, you know why you're in what is it like Romania?
Hmm.
One of these
So they're
random
hiding.
countries evading the fucking police because you know you did something wrong. So I don't know, just like oof, them blaming a lot of their trauma or hardships, and a lot of the hardships they explain, I feel like is rooted in like capitalism, truly. Like they're not making enough money, they're not attractive enough, they can't get the girl they want, so she plays him and it's like instead of blaming capitalism, they're all striving to get something that's what? Money and women. You want to be successful, you want to have like the cars, you want to have the girl on your side, but it's like you can't achieve that in an economy where you're broke as fuck or you have to go to school for an education and put yourself in debt. Like capitalism is your issue, not women.
Right, right.
And like these right wing podcasters have found a way to package it and not have to like take any like self reflection and being like, you know, it's not women that's the issue, it's this capitalistic, misogynistic society and all of it that, happens in it is affecting you and this is what it's manifesting in. But instead of realizing it, you want to blame women. And that leads me to our next topic, uh, women participating in the 4B movement in America, which was originated in Korea, if some people know. It's no dating, no sex, no kids, no marriage. Um, we'll see how long it lasts, but I'm definitely participating. And I've seen that other people are participating because I'm not, especially because I live in Florida. I don't know if some of you know, I live in Florida. It's a red state. I'm not putting out no cat to no man that probably voted red and helped get Cheeto dust back in office. I don't think so. Noella here lives in a blue state. She can do what she wants, but she's still being mindful and demure. She's also in her celibacy area like me, so it's just like
Yeah,
none of these men deserve it, honestly.
very much looking at all men differently.
Very
It's like,
differently.
can't
Like
take you serious.
I can't take
Mm-mm.
any of them seriously. And then the white women that went out and voted against their own self-interest,
Crazy work.
that's gaggy. But at the end of the day, yes, they said I'm white first.
It's like, yes, we're
And
women, but I'm white before anything else.
yeah, they're
So I'm gonna
white
vote
before
for
they're
my
a woman,
privilege.
so they're going to vote in that self-interest foremost, I feel like. And not
Mm.
saying that all white women, but there was a large amount, more than there should have been, especially with their bodily autonomy, like rights on the
Being
line. I don't
stripped
know.
away.
That was
Or will
very
be.
strange, very, very strange to witness. But no, I feel like the only people that did their homework were black women. Ooh.
Very much. 92% did what they needed to do.
Ooh, I don't know.
Hmm.
And then I don't know. It's I saw something earlier today that I was talking to Noelle about. It was like women voting for Trump is like chickens for KFC. And like at first she didn't get it, and I was like, "Girl, they serve chicken at KFC. Like, why would a chicken advocate to be slaughtered?" And it's like she's like, "Oh."
Right.
Like these women are advocating for their bodily autonomy basically be snatched away, and like you're basically saying, yes, the government can decide what I can do with my body. It's strange to me. I don't know.
They
But
done fucked around and they will find out
oh yeah,
within these next 4
we're
years.
in the fucking around part for sure, and
Yeah.
they'll find out.
Everybody gonna find out just how bad a second Trump presidency will be for this country.
Oh,
But y'all decided to vote on concepts of policies, concepts of plans to lower prices of groceries, concepts that tariffs will somehow magically reduce the price of everything, when in actuality, it will do the exact opposite for consumers across
exactly.
the board.
Right.
Tariffs literally do not benefit anybody that is of the working class. So y'all did this to yourselves, and I don't want to hear no complaining at all.
Yep.
At all.
I felt that honestly. Like,
Because
ah,
just doing an inkling of research would have mitigated this entire situation.
and a lot of
But
people
here we
didn't do
are.
that. They didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They did it
Yeah, we
after.
talked about it last week. It's like,
Right.
can I change my vote? It's like, you never do research after you fucking go to the goddamn ballot booth. Make it make sense. Make it make
Stupid.
sense.
Oh, make it make sense, please, because my head hurt. I'm trying to make it make sense. Child.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
One thing for certain, though, we gonna just be pretty and black.
Yup, and we're gonna
That's
continue to
all
do
we
what
know
we
how to
doing.
do.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I want to move into, since we're already kind of on the topic of politics, because this person basically turned this into a politic. Um, there's this man, his name is Josh Cedar. He was on like The Bachelorette or some shit. Like, I don't expect you to know who he is, Noella. Yeah, she don't know.
Never seen this man in my life. Thankfully.
Um, you're so lucky because this man pretended to be a trans person for 5 months as a social experiment. We'll get into that in a second. After being dumped by his trans girlfriend from RuPaul's Drag Race, Monica Beverly Hills, after he faked his death. So let's unpack. Let's.
A whole lot going on there in that statement. My goodness. It's a lot going on there. Let's unravel that. Oh, Jesus.
I don't even know where to start. Cause like, so he dated Monica Beverly Hills from RuPaul's Drag Race, which is a trans woman. If some of you aren't attuned to who that is, and she broke up with him, and I guess as his way of lashing out in being crazy, and his way of coping with that breakup was to pretend like he died and faked his death on Instagram. And then she drug him all over social media, like calling him out for faking his death and being a fucking weirdo. And then he comes back to social media. I'm not sure how long after he ends up going to do this, but he just seems like a very clout chasey type person. Like he's just trying to he wants to be famous. Um, he pretended to be trans as a social experiment to basically show how gullible like democratic or left leaning people are. Like, oh, look at them, like they're accepting me for being a woman just because I said I'm a woman. All of a sudden now I'm a woman. And no shade, but the entire time they were pretending to be trans, I kind of read between the lines and I was like, this bitch is a caricature. Like they're like this man is not being real. Yeah,
Definitely not giving serious
not serious.
transition.
It was slightest. This bitch put on a lip heavy fucking heavy on the facial hair. Not saying that if you have facial hair it makes you I'm not saying all that. But so when you just this bitch would just throw on a blouse and a red lip and have so much facial hair and clearly just, I don't know, just and the voice that they would put on after, like the voice that they had before and then the voice that I knew was that they just put on, I was just like, oh, you're you're trying to be funny because nobody acts like this. Like you just took multiple different caricature things from different things that you might have seen and just threw them together as one thing and I was just like you're not a real person. And turns out he wasn't, and a lot of right-wing conservatives gave him a ton of shit during the time where he was still pretending to be trans and they thought he was being serious. The only people that were
Hmm.
fooled were conservatives. So if his point was to fool like democratic left-leaning people, I heard from a lot of other trans people and they were like, I thought that bitch was a joke. I wasn't taking that seriously. And it's like, period.
The dolls all knew.
The dolls
Like
know.
that's what I'm
We
gathering.
know what other dolls are like, so we can tell that this is somebody masquerading around as us. I don't know. It was very obvious to me, at least, and a lot of other people that are left leaning, and even in the queer and trans spaces. I heard they're like, "Oh, trans man here." I thought he was a joke. I never took that serious, and I was like, "Period."
Right.
I was like, oh, because I thought I was the only one. I thought I was being a little, I don't know, but turns out he was being, that was just his way of, I guess, coping from being broken up by a trans woman. And he goes on spouts about how just because you say you're a woman and put on makeup doesn't make you a woman. And it's crazy to say when you literally were fucking a trans woman.
Literally. You light
Um
up in bed in
And I think he's
front of
publicly out
us.
as bisexual or some shit. I don't know.
There's so much, just so much going on there. Lord have mercy. Let's move on. Enough about this fake T word. Let's move on. Next topic, please. Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yup.
I gotta breathe. The next topic was just about our mothering journey. Do you want to
Yes. Our
go
final
into it? Do you
topic.
want to go into talking about Rudy first? You can go ahead and go with that
Yes.
one.
So I wanted to end this episode nice and light for our new subscribers and talk about um dog motherhood or just pet parenthood.
Yes, because she's a dog mom, I'm a cat
I'm a dog
mom.
mom, she's a cat mom. So I really wanted a dog all growing up, but my parents just would not allow it. They just said, "You want to take care of it, blah blah blah. You're not going to take care of it." And they don't want a dog. I don't want. My mom was like, "I don't want a dog in the house." Um, so I waited till I was 16, and I asked them again. So like, "Can we get a dog?" Like, I'm finally old enough to take care of a dog. I know I'm going to take this. I'm going to take care of this dog. I'm going to work and pay for this, pay for everything, and I can take care of a dog.
Right.
So very much convinced them to let me get a dog. So we went
Mm-hmm.
to this one shelter where originally we weren't even supposed to get Rudy.
Okay.
Um, we had our eyes set on this other like tiny, like Chihuahua mixed dog, but he got snatched up real quick, and we're like, oh, okay. So I think we went back like a few days later, and then I saw Rudy, and it was an instant connection. I was like, "Oh my god, look at my little shy boy!" I'm like, "Hi, handsome." Oh, so he was super anxious, super skittish, because he came from, I think the Arkansas
Mm-hmm.
floods that happened back in 2016, or I can't remember when they happened, but
Mm-hmm.
back around then, he's from some type of flooding situation in the South, and he got
Yeah.
rescued, and they brought him up here. So he's from there. So he's very skittish, very much, shaking the whole way home. And I was just like holding him tightly on the entire drive home.
Oh.
And obviously, I couldn't sign the papers to like legally own the dog. So
Yeah.
technically, the dog is my parents. But
Ooh.
I've paid for pretty
Everything.
much everything
Right.
when it comes to my baby, my child,
Yup.
their grand dog, their grandson, their grand dog,
Yes.
very much. So yeah, we've had Rudy since 2016, taking care of him, love him dearly. There's many, don't want to get to that, but there was many times where he kept me from doing unyieldly and unworldly worldly things to my body.
Oh.
He kept me going in those very difficult moments where I was like,
Right.
I don't know who I am. I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. And
Man.
just one look at his cute face, he's just like, I can't do it. I gotta stay alive for my son.
Right.
And yeah, I love being a pet mom, love being a dog mom. I could see myself being a cat mom in a
You're
few
going to be a
years.
cat mom. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I will be. But I don't know. It's just something about having a dog that having a cat just can't fill that same space for me.
Oh, it's
So
gonna
it's very
fill the
much giving
space for
I
you.
could have a cat and probably a dog as well.
It's
That's what
giving, it'll fill the
my
space.
future gives. And that's what I see.
Get you a
Like
big ass
definitely
Maine
giving.
Coon, bitch.
Oh, Maine Coons are so
Get you a
pretty.
big
Oh,
ass
they're so
Maine
pretty.
Coon. Mm.
But yeah, that's my story with Rudy and how I adopted him. Oh,
Oh.
but going back to the adoption, I paid for the adoption fee. Even though I couldn't sign nothing, I paid for it.
Yeah, she still paid for that dog. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Clock the
let's
T.
get into how you found your beautiful daughter, my niece, Amor.
Yes. So, let me just brush past this real briefly, this first part. I first originally found her because I was going around to a house of a former person that no longer is spoken to, and no more on that. But she was homeless. The little homeless kitten was just sitting outside, and it was her. She wasn't a kitten, but she was like, I could tell that she was maybe close to a year old, maybe. She looked very young and like was very, very malnourished, not being fed a whole lot because she was, you know, a stray cat. And the house that she was like staying at was at a house that I'm pretty sure got foreclosed on, and the owners no longer live there. So I was like, did they leave this cat? Like, um, but I'm not 100% certain, but I would come over and see her like, regularly. and the people that I would like go hang out with that was across the street from her would feed her, and it just got to the point where I was just like, I'm gonna take that cat home. And I wasn't even supposed to have a cat. My mom did not want no cats in her house, but I brought that damn cat home. She fought me tooth and nail. Struggled to get inside of my car. I was all clawed up, but by the time she got in and realized how chill it was, she had her own bed, she had water, she had food. She was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is cute." She got real
Mm-hmm.
comfy. I eventually made her appointments at the vet, got rid of her fleas or whatever. And then like I didn't fucking know, but then I found out that she was fucking pregnant at some point and ended up having fucking four kittens. But uh, my parents eventually found out we had her. She went to a different house and stayed there for a while, and then I got her back. I was like, I had to convince my mom. I was like, I want her in this fucking household. I want my fucking cat back. And then she's like, fine, but you gotta clean up after it and do it. I was like, that's what I was already doing, and y'all didn't even know about it. So I don't know what the issue is. And I got her back,
Right.
and yeah, been settled. Like that's my damn cat. I pay for everything. Then I got her ass fixed after she had them damn cats because I was like, you ain't having no more. No shade. Ooh.
Mm-mm.
But yes, I'm a mother. She's real cute. She's cutesy, and I'll probably not have another cat until I move out, and it's probably gonna be a hairless one, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and wrap up this episode because I don't want to go too far over. What is giving is all these new subscribers for me. Um, I hope to learn more about y'all and get some more interactions out of you all, and y'all answer some of these questions that we have at the end of the episode because we always have a question at this point. So, what's given for you, Noella?
What's giving for me is finally being able to like see tangible growth on the channel and within this podcast. It's been so many months. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
hard work goes
Mm-hmm.
into making this. Um, it may seem very easy, but just to like be on camera and like be presentable and like,
Right. Have
you
topics to talk
know,
about.
have things to talk about. Sometimes, rarely we'll have episodes where we just didn't know what we was gonna say,
We
but
just hopped
very much going
on
forward, that's not gonna be a thing anymore. We're always gonna figure out topics to,
something.
to speak about that week.
Yes.
But yeah, just what's giving is growth and being
Yes.
able to recognize said growth and growing
Yes.
this beautiful community. So that's going to wrap up this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and
What's the
subscribe.
question that we got for
Um,
them this week?
the question this week that I'm going to ask you guys is, what were your first impressions of me and show? And write
Yes.
that down below in the comments. But all right,
Period.
everyone, thank you so much for listening. Again, liking and commenting
It
and
helps.
sharing.
It helps
It
so
helps with the
much.
growth of this podcast
It
so much.
helps.
So if you can, just if you could please, please,
Yes.
please, please
Hit the
like, comment, and
comment.
subscribe.
Watch it all the way through, even if you're not paying attention.
Yes.
Play it in the
Leave
background,
it running
baby.
in the background. If you don't got time, just leave it in the background, run it through
Yes.
because it helps us with the algorithm so much.
Literally.
But
We love
yeah,
y'all.
that's gonna wrap this up. Bye y'all.
Mm.
Love you.